Okay, so who would like to jump in today? So we are at Q&A day. So who would like to get started? Go for it, Ryan. I always like you jump in first.
All right. This is actually a question for Jen, or something I'm following up with her. I guess a couple weeks ago, I was asking about training manuals, and you said you'd be willing to share yours. Do you think you could pass that along to me? I would love to take a look and get some ideas from you.
Yeah,
What would be
just
the best way to do that?
post your email in the comments and I'll send it to you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. What else, Ryan?
One second.
No worries. Take your time.
Okay. With hiring trainers, this goes out to anybody. What sort of profit margin are you looking to maintain as a business owner? Like, let's just pick $100 per hour. What do you pay them? What do you want to pay yourself?
Yeah. And are we talking all one-to-one?
Well, for this example, yes, but I would also like to talk about duets as well.
Yeah. So I always say your profit margin. Sorry, someone's asking. Let me just send her. Someone's asking for this link. So I always say for one-to-one, it needs to be 60-40. So you can pay them a maximum of 40%. So if the session rate is 100, the maximum that you could pay a trainer is 40. Now, doesn't mean that you should pay 40. It's just the maximum, right? So I would look at, I tend to work with people on this in just a slightly backwards kind of way. So like more when I tend to have this conversation more when people are more like determining what their actual pricing is going to be. But if your pricing is already set, then you can figure out really more like what the going market rate is. You just want to make sure that that it's not more than 40% of the total session rate. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So for that, and then with anything like 2 people or more, so I would consider that to be like semi-private training, similar concept, but you're just making sure that you're not paying more than, that you're keeping 70%. So you're not paying out really like more than 30% of the session rate.
Okay. Got it. And would that also apply to classes, or is that a whole nother animal?
Yeah. So your profit margin, like depending on like the number of people, your profit margin should go up. So classes, I would say 80% or better.
So I would keep 80%.
Keep 80%.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, those are all the questions I have for now.
Okay. Yeah, those are kind of standard margins that can keep your business healthy. The good news for you, though, is that because you're not at this point responsible for the entirety of the overhead of a facility, that I would still keep those profit margins, but you'll end up pocketing even more. And those are kind of based off of like studio owner rates, but it'll still work for you. But again, like if your average one-on-one session rate is 100, you don't like it, and the local average pay for a trainer is 25, you may want to start your trainers at 20, just knowing you have great profit margin and give them room to grow. And I also advocate for paying trainers the same regardless of what type of session they're serving. So some people want to like pay for one-on-one this rate. If they do 2-on-1, it's this rate. If they do a group, it's this flat rate plus $3 per head. And I'm like, no, one rate. That's personal opinion and preference. For those of you who have employed other trainers and you have a different opinion, you can share that for sure. But that is what I always did, and it worked out really, really well. It wasn't confusing for anyone, and everyone knew what to expect.
Okay. Is there anyone here on the call that pays trainers a different rate if they're doing like duet sessions or working with 3 people at once compared to a one-on-one rate?
This is Mary here. Sorry if you can't hear me. I'm having to drive now, but I do have, I guess because my small group training, I do the programming, so I just charge one flat rate, and then my one-on-one, listening to Nicole's suggestion, I pay her quite a bit more than that, but I'm just relied on my trainer for her expertise, and I feel like she brings a lot more to the table. So those are the only two differences that I pay in personally.
Okay. That was a little hard to hear, but I think she's saying just more based on like the experience. So thank you, Mary.
Thanks.
I feel like Glenn wants to talk.
I have been dealing with this for years, and it's become quite a challenge. The three trainers that I have, because we deal with youth athletes, and sometimes they have a hockey team of 20 kids or whatever, they want more per hour when they've got more in the group. And now all three of them have colluded against me to say, hey, when we have teams in our schedule that I'm providing, by the way, they don't go out and get their own business, they want to be paid more. And now they're starting to tell me, hey, next time we have a soccer team of 18, we want more, or else we're not going to do it. And so now I'm kind of struggling with, well, if I don't pay them more, I'm not going to have anyone to train these athletes I'm bringing in. So I'm sorry I missed the first part of your question. I was on another Zoom, but I'm dealing with this right now. Obviously, I'm going to have to pay them because they've put the gun to my head. But I agree with Nicole. It should be just one flat rate across the board. But when you're dealing with people that feel that they give more energy and more effort and more time into lesson planning when it's 20 kids versus one kid, I totally see their point of view, and I don't disagree. It's just that I hate being forced into a decision because I need to crunch the numbers and figure out, is this actually going to work financially?
Right. Nicole, what would you do in that situation if you have trainers who are demanding more for a larger group?
It's probably not going to happen to you. Glenn has some specialty to his coaching. It's not going to happen for you, I don't think. It never happened for me.
Okay.
Ever. And I don't hear about that happening very often. I mean, people like Jen and maybe David, Michelle for sure have employed people before. I don't hear about that coming up very often. And when it does, it's almost always with people who have a specialty like athletic training, especially like youth athletes. Yeah.
Okay.
But for you could just be like, no. He's kind of in a bind. Like, you can find, of course, if you get a good trainer, you want to keep a good trainer, but you could find another trainer anywhere. It's a little bit harder to find coaches who specialize in specific types of sports performance. I don't think it'll be an issue for you. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for everybody's input.
Yeah. Good question. I haven't got to talk about like margins in a long time. Nobody asks me those questions anymore. Awesome. Okay. Who wants to jump in next? All right. Go for it, Nat. Welcome to the group.
Thanks. Okay. So I had a couple questions. You reviewed the offer page. Thanks for doing that.
Mm-hmm. Your other document may just take me a little bit. This is long.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, people are reading it because
as we learned yesterday.
Yeah. So, so a couple questions. I started that same Facebook ad. I just copied it and I did another one to my Instagram account. And it was, I know it's going to be more expensive,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just kind of, I guess this is probably more of a thing for him, huh? Is he on every Tuesday?
No, but if you have a specific question about that, post it in the group, the mastermind group, and tag him in it.
Okay. Yeah. Cause it's like almost $4.
Yeah. Which is actually not bad in cost per lead.
Oh,
yeah. Mine's probably about that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not bad
at all. For Instagram it is, or?
Facebook for me it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that audience you have targeted is just like, it's like the perfect audience to target.
Okay.
I can't think of what else it might be. I mean, your ad is also very compelling, but I think for you, you nailed it with the audience.
Okay. Okay.
So
cool.
I think he would say, I mean, you can ask for sure. I think he would say $4 is fine.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. And then, so the next thing is that Okay, so I think I voiced you. I switched to, what happened was I was like doing a lot of like rescheduling calls, right? Because I had people in the beginning, I was just like, when people came on to my program, I was like, okay, what time and day works for you? Like every week we can just, set a scheduled day and time that we connect, our check-ins. And what happened with that is people started to reschedule a lot. And I felt like I was like a freaking admin thing, like just constantly rescheduling calls going into the calendar. And so now what I do is I send out a link on Saturday and I say, hey, just schedule your call for the week.
Yeah.
You can choose whatever time you want. But now what I'm noticing is that, okay, here I am on Wednesday and probably half the people have booked their calls. So it's like, I wonder if it's like the email that sucks, or like, should I and so what I did last week, because this is new, is I just texted all of them and I was like, hey, don't forget to book your call. And they're like, oh yeah. But so I'm just kind of wondering what you think is the best way for both me and them,
I mean, I think if you put it more in their hands, you're going to get not 100% of your people scheduling calls every week.
Right.
I don't with the last business coach I had, it was kind of like a schedule as needed. I'd go like 2 months without talking to her.
And you would still keep that. And so.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because I was still getting on the group calls. And if I had a question, she was there. But I didn't feel like, for me, doing a weekly call with someone, no, like not just like as a coach, but like as a client, I would not do weekly calls with people. It's too much for me.
Interesting. So do you think that I should just not even reach out to them, or?
No. And in fact, the coach I'm working with now, I paid her all up front for 6 months because it included like a couple months of one-on-one, like weekly touch points. And I used the first 4 and now I'm like, I'm good. I just don't need that much contact. So you may have people in the group who are potentially a little bit more like me. I don't know. I mean, you can remind them, but I wouldn't manage them. Like, they're adults, if they want to have the call with you, they know how to book the call. And maybe because it's the first, maybe for the first couple of weeks, you text the ones who haven't scheduled and just say, hey, I noticed you haven't booked this week. Here's the link. And let's see if they book, great. If they just say, hey, I think I'm actually good this week, then that's actually good insight for you.
Yeah, that'd be sick, Yeah. Okay. All right. And then I think I had another thing on here. Oh yeah, that was one thing is, my Facebook, I don't know if it's Instagram, or sorry, not Facebook, but I don't know if it's like the new update or whatever they did, but like my live videos are shit with how many video views.
I'm noticing it as well. Actually, the last group I was just on with, we were talking about this. And groups as well have declined just in terms of viewerships. I don't know what's going on. My posts are getting great engagement. My lives are about half the views of what I'm used to. And what I know and what I feel confident in is that my subject lines are great and that my content is awesome. So I am not sure what's going on. I don't think it's just you. Other people have asked me about that recently as well. Okay. Hopefully there's just some shifts and updates that are happening and that will stabilize. And again, I'm seeing the same thing in groups as well. Like December last year, groups got no visibility. Then in April, they were like the top of the list and things that got visibility. And now I feel like it's like normal again. And so I do feel like there's quite a lot of shifts that are happening right now. So yeah, I don't think it's just you. Of course, look, we can look at the technicalities. Is the visual appealing? Is the subject line enticing and intriguing and curious to the people that you want to serve? Are you going live at a time of day that makes sense for your soulmate clients? There are all those things that we can evaluate for sure. But, if you feel like everything is right, keep expanding your network, adding more people, that kind of thing. I'm trying just to not worry about it and do it anyway. Because you never know who's watching. And it doesn't take 1,000 views to connect with the right person every now and then. And are you repurposing your lives on IGTV?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
And I'll get like 30 views on my live, for Instagram. And then Facebook, dude, sometimes I think my timing is like way bad, but I'm just like, whatever. Like I'm just putting it out there, but I think it's like not helping me. Cause I'll get like no views when I do a live on Facebook.
Like no one watching live?
Nobody's there.
So if that's the case, look at your time of day and look at your descriptive line. I'm actually not getting notifications anymore that people are live. So like even the people, like, Facebook knows who you watch and like who you like. So normally they'll send you that notification that just says so-and-so is live. I'm not really getting much of that at all anymore. I don't get even notifications about people going live once a day now. Whereas I used to, for the people I really engage with, like my clients and coaches and things like that, I'm just not getting the note. I think that's part of it as well. So, and that's something that's obviously out of your control.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. Like what's been happening to me, and I don't know if it's a case of like, I'm just popping up and people are scrolling through the profile, but what's been happening to me is within like the first 30 seconds, I'll have like 10 people on. And then a minute later, it's like 3 people on, and then total views end up like really low. So I definitely think there's something going on again with the notification settings and just with the algorithm in general. I wish we knew the secrets and could hack them, but we just keep showing up. That's the thing. Yeah. And it'll change again, and it'll change for the better, and then it'll change for the worse again. And that's the game we play.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jen was asking about reposting. Maybe were you asking about like sharing?
No, I've been posting more than like the same videos. I'll post them again and again.
Like when you're not live?
Yeah. So, and I found that has been helpful for people to see them. Sorry, my
like you're sharing them again, so it increases
viewership. Okay. In the same day and on my different sites. So different times a day, and I've actually gotten more traction. Then people are like, "Oh yeah, I was planning on watching that," and they have a moment to watch it. Yeah. So it's kind of like that poke reminder. I actually heard that from another person. I was listening to a podcast, and they're like, do it. I mean, if people don't like the fact that you're reposting, that's their problem. Quite a few of your people want to watch it. It's just they don't have the time right now to do it. And if you keep reminding them, because sometimes they won't go back. That's where I'm always like, okay, I'm going to make it really convenient for you because I'm going to serve it up to you at least 4 times.
Yeah, that's good. And then another thing, just to add to that you can do, and I don't do this as frequently as I should. It's like a when I remember thing, and I was really good about it for a while, and it was actually quite helpful. But in one of the emails I would send out every week, I would have in the PS line, and by the way, these are the live videos, and I would just write the title, like the caption of it, and then I would hyperlink it to the video on Facebook, and that would drive engagement again. It was actually really interesting because then I could go back and I could look at how many clicks each of them were getting, and also evaluate which content people were most interested in. So
that's pretty cool.
That's something I would do for sure, Nat, with like the size of your email list and everything. I think you could really drive your engagement that way. And I would drive them, you're going to have to drive them to Facebook. So just like you probably know this, but click the video into full screen, grab the unique hyperlink and just the URL and hyperlink it to.
Why does it have to be Facebook?
Because so for the recyclability of your videos in Facebook is very different from Instagram. So let's say 5 days later, you are, you're reminding people of all the content that you did. And so a video you did on Monday, if you drive people to that on Instagram, they may like it, but it's not going to get recycled in the news feed. But if you drive people to Facebook and they start engaging with those posts again, it's going to get recycled and people are going to see it again. So that doesn't happen with Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm good then. I'm good.
Cool. Thank you. And Jen, that was a really good suggestion also.
Yeah,
I don't know what's up with lives. I swear, I was telling my last group this, like when I first started doing Facebook lives, every video would have over 1,000 views. Every video, no problem. Now, and then it dropped to like 600 to 800 and then like 400 to 600. Right now it's like 200 to 300 is kind of average. And I just think it's all algorithm stuff, because I can tell you without a doubt my content is way better now than it was 2 years ago. So.
I have some sense it might be the political environment that's going on Facebook. So a lot of people don't want to be engaged in Facebook. That's just my opinion. That happened to us the last election. There, people just jumped off Facebook and didn't want to watch any videos, and they would only go on at certain times because they knew that they were going to be tracked. That's just my opinion. But
Huh.
yeah.
That could be true.
But it's also on Instagram. Like my Instagram, that's
Yeah.
where.
And that's the thing, like the Instagram stuff, it's, you know, people like, it's the same thing. They just stay off social media because they just don't want to be like in that environment kind of thing.
That and Instagram. Okay, I got to figure out what's going on with my Instagram because I am now getting an average of 50 to 70 comments on
What?
every post that are telling me how much money I can make with binary trading.
Oh, God.
Oh,
So the likes are through the roof. I'm pretty sure these are like bot or spam accounts. And it's really funny. My friend Arlene, she commented on one of my posts last week, and she said something like, I don't have any words of wisdom about traders with godlike status who can make you more money than it took me, than it took me in time to take a shower today. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, Michelle noticed it too. I don't know what it is. I think it has to be one of my hashtags. And I'm guessing it's either the one that says like entrepreneur or entrepreneurship. That is my guess. So I'm going to remove those going forward and see if we can not get 50 to 70 comments about how I can make money with Forex or binary trading. And they all have these stupid stories. It's like, I was broke and I lost everything until Mr. George saved my life. And it's just awful. Yeah. No, I think it's the entrepreneur thing, Michelle. And it's funny because I'm actually super into cryptocurrency and I invest a lot in Bitcoin and I know what all of that trading is and I know it's all garbage. Every single one of those comments. So anyway. Yeah, I think it's either entrepreneur or entrepreneurship. Those are my first two that I'm going to remove and just see what happens. It's been out of control the last couple of weeks. But Michelle, if you want to make money in binary trading options or other types of investments, you can check out my profile. There's a lot of options. Okay, who else would like to jump in? Anybody? Don't be shy. Just calling people randomly.
I'll go.
I was gonna say, I was actually looking at your name, Heather. I was like, where?
I know. I had to switch my mouse because my other one died, and I've got this roller ball, and it takes a while for me to move this cursor.
No, it's all good.
All right. Number of things.
Perfect.
I'll start with this one since it is somewhat related to what we were talking about earlier when someone actually asked about pricing. I thought that was kind of funny because I had a question about it. When I'm looking at, say, I want to start charging for some of these consultations and sessions because you get too many people that it's just a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, and also one of the things I'm going to be eventually going into is consulting for other people. Because I used to teach at the Southern California Health Institute, and I was the program director, and I basically helped design the program, and we taught people how to be personal trainers via the NASM model.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so I actually taught fitness leadership and sales, business assessment and essentials. I taught programming. I taught people everything, nuts and bolts. When you're a new trainer, what do you do to start your business? Well, you know, DBA, all that kind of thing. So this is one of the things that in the long term, I want to add this as another profit stream. I have a feeling someone's going to come up and ask me for some help, and I don't want to do it for free anymore.
Who is
so
someone?
How do I,
Who is someone?
Sometimes it's my past students that basically tried to get into the industry, but as you know, it's hard for trainers to survive and they don't last very long. Or there's people that are coming to me like, oh, I'm kind of interested in fitness and da-da-da-da. So I wanted to figure out, how do I determine how much I want to make per hour?
Okay.
I mean,
So tell
you know
me.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
And even in general, like when starting to go this route, I purposely made my one-on-one training rate really high because I didn't want people to go that route. I want people to join my memberships instead. It's more fun for me. And I do have one private client because I also specialize in people that have multiple sclerosis. So those people I usually have to drive to. And I only have one because it's not a big industry and I don't really promote it because I just don't enjoy one-on-one training anymore. I'm a people person.
yeah.
So for her, she pays me $135 and I see her once a week. And the way I had created it a while ago was if you're within a 10-minute driving radius, it's included, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So she's within a 10-minute driving radius. So I get $135 for her session. But my one-on-one training rate on the website, or if anyone ever asks, it's $160 an hour, partially because I don't want people to choose it. And if they do, well, then they're going to pay me. And then for members, if they ever need like a one-on-one session for something, which so far no one ever has, it's like $100 an hour because, you know, they're a member. But I've never really used those numbers and I've only got this one client. So how do I determine how much I want to make per hour, per 30 minutes?
So are you teaching them how to be trainers or how to set up their training business?
Oh, it would be either. Okay. I can do either.
Okay. So I think you have to figure out what you want.
Mostly the business. It'll mostly be the business.
Okay. So I wouldn't charge, okay, this is my opinion on it and you may not like this and we can talk about something else. But if it were me, I would offer something like what I offer with, I don't want to say like the marketing intensive because it doesn't have to be marketing specific, but like a very specific duration coaching program where you solve a specific problem, like setting up your business and getting the fundamentals of business growth in place. And it's a process that you take people through, right? So that you're not charging on an hourly rate. I get those requests a lot for consulting, like, hey, how much would it cost me to book just like a one-off call with you? And I'm like, no. Because, and sometimes people have like really specific questions about how to package and price their services and things like that. And I'll answer that stuff a lot of the times like for free rather than get on a call with people. But for someone who's brand new, which is what it sounds like, if you were going to work with very experienced people, I think a consultancy type thing would be okay. But if you're going to work with brand new people, I would create an actual system that you put people through.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. But if I do deal with someone because there will be possibilities where I have a trainer who's been in the industry for a while, but it's just not working. Right.
Yeah.
So how do I determine though for those sessions, how much would it be per hour? But I do plan on creating programs similar to what you have where it's easier, where you kind of create the template and.
Yeah. So I would charge per program, not per hour. Kind of like what
Right. But when I do need to charge per time down the road for a consult, how do you determine?
Do you want to make per hour?
Huh?
How much do you want to make per hour?
Well, I want to make as much as I can, right? But obviously I have to take it. I have a hell of a lot of experience. I've been in the industry since 2006 and I've made all the mistakes prior and I'm still learning from my mistakes.
Yeah.
I've had a gangload of business coaches. I've done a lot of things wrong. I've done a lot of things right. A lot of people do look up to me that are new in the industry or fairly new, a lot of my past students and stuff. But how do you determine?
Yeah, I only sell programs. Like I don't sell one-off coaching. So that's my personal preference. Very experienced business coaches will charge $500 to $1,000 an hour. I have had a business coach that was $1,000 an hour before.
That's
I wouldn't charge up $500 to $1,000 an hour if it were me and I was gonna like really make it worth my time. I would say probably like 300 would be my price point at this point. And then I'd probably feel bad about it because that's how I am. But I do think that I'm worth that for sure. So I think you stair step it, right? Like figure out it should be more than what you would charge for training sessions. That's just how business coaching works, right? Like you charge more for business than you do for training sessions. Maybe you do. It's hard to get a lot done in an hour or two, especially on a consultancy type call where you don't even really have the big picture of what where they are and what they're trying to do. So maybe those would be like 90 minutes.
Well, I would have them fill out paperwork and documents. I'm just kind of starting the thought process. Ideally, I would do a program, but I would have them fill out documents ahead of time and everything. But okay.
I mean, so I would be looking at like if I just had to throw numbers out there, because it's kind of what we're doing. I mean, I would probably charge like $150 for a 90-minute session and then stair step it up from there. That might be like my starting point for you.
Okay.
Glenn agrees with me. I don't see you doing a ton of that. Like if you do, great. But I would, if you really want to get into that, create a longer term program. It doesn't have to be 12 weeks. It could be 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 16 weeks. It doesn't matter. Like
that's the ideal goal.
Yeah. Like when I first went through, when I was first getting into business coaching, the program I was coaching people through, I don't remember how long it was exactly, but it was basically like broken up. I really don't remember how long it was. It was basically broken up into like parts that were sequential. So like the first part you'd spend on packaging, pricing, and sales. Then you would spend time on, I think maybe it was the marketing next, and then finance and operations, then like team management. So it was all really progressive, but stretched out probably over like 6 to 12 months. I seriously can't even remember. But I don't like that approach so much anymore. I like the approach of getting very specific and very clear on the particular problem that you solve. A friend of mine who I used to work with is looking to kind of break off and do his own business coaching as well. And he messaged me last night. He was like, "What do you think about these for my my prices?" I was like, "Well, it's great, but like, what are you offering?" And he was like, "Oh, it's mostly a marketing and sales problem, but they also have trouble with staffing and blah blah blah." And I'm like you can't. People don't want the big general solution anymore. They want to solve a specific problem in a specific time frame. Is my kind of opinion. So I don't know if that helps, but that's exciting for you.
Yeah, that's something that is always been on one of the things I wanted to have as one of my income streams, and I slowly will start working that way. Yeah, and I assume when it gets to that point, are you the right type of business coach to help me put it all together and create like the concept of it? Obviously I'd have the information, but putting it together so in a format it works.
Yeah. So like, if any of you have seen the testimonial that Will Hinkson gave me last year. So he is crushing it. I don't know what he's done exactly. Actually, I kind of do. So he started making money in his new online business. So he had a gym, which he's actually sold maybe in the last 6 months, and started an online business coaching business. And within a year, he's gotten that business up to 25,000 recurring revenue every month. But he's been having like $70,000 and $80,000 months because he's adding consultancy, like one-offs on top of it. But he's working with like medium-sized companies. He's not working with like individuals, kind of like I do, or like very small businesses. I'm like, power to him. That started with the marketing intensive. So yeah, and I've helped several people move more into the business coaching realm from fitness, but it's not actually super common that you see. There are companies who will offer it where there's like a combination, like here's how to be a great trainer with a little bit of business thrown in, and it's not done very well. So it's very hard for new trainers to find that combination. Like here's how to be an amazing trainer, but also here's how to build a business. That's actually fairly rare. It's never done well. I can tell you that. I did even when I did my 200-hour yoga teacher training like 10 years ago, we did it 200 hours over the course of a month. We spent one day on the business of yoga. So
what I would do is separate it into completely different programs that are offered. I'd have different programs for different, like you said, different solutions to solve.
Yeah, so you could do it where it was like phased also. So maybe you can offer, maybe it's like an 8-week program on being a trainer and an 8-week program on the business of being a trainer, and they could buy them separately or together at a better rate.
Okay, cool. That was just one of my questions.
Awesome. Okay.
I got more.
So hopefully this gets some other people thinking too.
Yeah. On the Excel spreadsheet where we're keeping track of our numbers, on the close rate percent, the number of new clients divided by the number of consults times 100 minus, and we're trying to get the 80% minimum. Now, I'm so black and white. I'm so OCD. So I just finished my numbers for September, but I had a consult with someone at the very end of September, and she joined the beginning of October. So if I put her as joining in October, my rate goes down, my percent rate goes down for September. So should I just count her as closed? I know it's a simple
count her
question.
as closed, but add her as a new client in October.
But put her in the percent. Okay.
I'm like that too. I like hard rules about things like that. I get it, but no.
But I didn't like my number going down. I was like,
no.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
As long as you're consistent with that, it doesn't matter. Like as long as if they close, and they join the first day of the next month, you don't pick and choose how you handle that month to month to manipulate your numbers, right? Like as long as you're consistent with that, it doesn't matter.
Okay. And then so I finally finished the email sequence for the lead magnet. Thank God. Oh, I'd been procrastinating all that for so long. And then I went and listened to the video about thank you pages, and you're recommending we have a thank you page. Now in ConvertKit, after they get the guide, I have the option to show them a success message, and I can put a bunch of verbiage in that message. Or should I just create a whole nother landing page and redirect to that page as a thank you page? You know what I mean?
You can do either. I just like to use a thank you page to give some type of call to action, which for me is join my Facebook group. So there should be a link to join the group. It doesn't matter. It should probably honestly be received like in the scenario you're talking about. I think it'll be received pretty much the same way. Just thinking in how ConvertKit displays those messages. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right after they send their information. It pops up, and that's like the page.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that. I know it's taken me longer than planned, but I'm excited to actually finally go to the next step. Then my two questions left. GDPR. I'm starting to get people that I think I'm getting a lot of requests from people in other countries. I mean, I have been from other countries, but I think some of these people are starting to get on my email list.
Mm-hmm.
So is there some easy place to go to where ideally I can copy and paste what I need to put on my privacy policy on my website, or what I need to do?
Google copy and paste GDPR.
Okay.
It's not perfect. It's to get it right. Honestly, you're supposed to go through an attorney. It's going to cost you like a couple $1,000s, and I'm not doing that. So just not doing that and hoping for the best. It kind of feels to me like one of those things that it was like a really big deal, and then it kind of blew over a little bit. So as long as you have a link to some type of privacy policy, I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay. All right. And then my last thing is I have my meeting later today with the two people for the charity, for the marathon coaching program. And there's no agenda for this meeting. It's kind of fly by night. I already kind of asked a couple questions when I saw my friend who was here for her session last night. I was like, so how many people do you have on the team? They've got like 6 right now, but they're going to try and get more. And I'm like, well, are they all kind of running right now? Or are they new? And, just to get an idea. And their first meeting for their program is going to be this Sunday, the 27th. So basically it'll leave 16 weeks till the marathon for the people doing the half and the full. I'm still struggling to determine, like when we have this meeting tonight, I don't even know if they've created a budget for it or what. Like, how do you bring this up in the conversation of like me getting paid something or being compensated something more than just offering a special 2-day week membership during this time for them to strength train? Like, they're going to meet every Sunday. I will be there I can be there for most of them. And to be honest, I run Sundays anyway, so I can kind of do my running, same thing. But it's going to, I'm struggling with this because I've always just done it volunteer for companies in the past.
Yeah. But there's been a conversation, correct me if I'm wrong, there's been a conversation about compensation, right?
No, the whole meeting is today to talk about everything.
Right, but like they haven't given you any reason to assume that you believe you're going to be doing it for free.
I don't think so, but it hasn't really.
I would literally just say, what were you guys thinking in terms of budget for me to do the coaching? I would open it up.
That's what I was thinking of. What was your budget for this?
Yeah, and then just have a minimum. Did you decide on what your minimum that you're willing to accept is?
No, because that's part of how do I determine how much I want to make? I'm kind of.
How many hours did you figure out how many hours total you think this is going to take between like the programming and the coaching? And
Well, the hard part is once I need to find out, I have a feeling they're going to be willing to kind of facilitate the weekend session so I don't have to be there the whole time and every morning, but I do need to be there probably at the beginning and possibly at the end each weekend. So I don't know. I don't know what they're willing to do and what they need me to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You have to decide what that is for yourself. Like Nicole of 2 years ago would accept a very different rate for something than what I'm willing to accept now. Right. And so, it's a little bit hard to like pick an arbitrary number, but think about what is the time that you're going to commit. Are you going to be able to multitask and get your own workouts in too? Because that, may affect things. You will be able to potentially grow the business with getting people in for strength training, which is a good thing. So there are some positives to you taking this on. If you were going to get $1,000 for 16 weeks of coaching and nothing else, like, I don't know, like to me that wouldn't be worth it, but it may be worth it to you because you may just love it. And like, you're like, okay, it's cool to get something. I want to do this anyway.
Yeah, I'd probably do it for 1,000. I don't know if they're thinking that much though. I mean, this is charity.
Yeah.
Nonprofit. So that's what I have no idea about. We'll see. Maybe once I find out their budget, then I can try and go from there. And then maybe I create something based on the budget they want to spend. Because at minimum, I can give them, I will email the team once a week with their workouts, their training program for each week. And then I show up periodically for talks. At minimum, that's what I could do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To talk about nutrition and different things like that. And then they facilitate all the trainings on the weekends. Technically, I could do that. Yeah, it could be as simple as that.
And then also just like really with the underlying intention to get them to come in.
Yeah. Now then this ties in and it's my last question. I want to create where they come in twice a week. They get any 2 sessions a week for the 16 weeks. I don't have a membership like that. I have a membership that's 3 times a week.
What's that one? What's the rate for that one?
Well, the 12-month price 3 times a week is $197. The month-to-month price 3 times a week is $257.
Okay. So what if we do you want to be friendly to these people.
Right.
What strikes me, and anyone else is welcome to contribute. But what strikes me is probably like $147 a month for the 4 months for 2 times a week. And it's probably a little bit less than what you could charge or what you could get, but that's not exactly the point with this.
Right.
So
the goal is they want to stay and be a member after the 16 weeks of 2 times a week anyway.
Yeah.
And it's exposure,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So 147 for 2 times a week.
That's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. You have to keep us posted on the meeting. Let us know.
Yes. It's tonight. And then I've had a few virtual live sessions and so far the members that have come love them.
Heather, I'm so glad that we had that conversation like a month ago.
I'm like, why couldn't I have thought of this so long ago? I could have saved so many people.
Was that Jen that was making that suggestion originally?
I think so. Yes. And I was like, but they love it. And at first they were literally like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get a good workout, but because I'm literally here and it is more work than in person because I'm facilitating it, but it's great. They love that they don't have to drive. So now it's throwing lots of ideas at me and I'm excited for what I can offer in the future.
Good. Awesome. I love it. So for those of you with studios who struggle with member attendance or even maybe retention due to scheduling or location, Heather is a great testimonial for adding some virtual training options even to a brick and mortar and how that can work. So that was really good.
Yeah.
Yay. Keep us posted on the meeting.
All right. That's all I got.
Okay. Cool. Nat, you said you have a question about Facebook Live. Oh, I was gonna say
it's something simple.
Okay.
Okay. So when I set up my video, I usually do Facebook and Instagram all at the same time. And it's like this weird, like, I'm just wondering, do you cut your video so that like when you post, no, I guess it's okay. It's just like, I'm setting it up. So I'm like, I got like my face here and I'm like, hey, what's up? And I'm getting everything ready. Like, is that like, cause I know you want to catch people's attention right away. So I'm just wondering if there's a certain way that you set up the video, like, like 3, 2, 1, hey, what's up? And you just go like that.
I get it both like ready to go. I don't even do IG like live anymore. Like I get no viewership for that.
Okay.
Do you get any viewership on Instagram Live? Okay.
Way more than Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. If I do an Instagram Live, I get like maximum of 50 people, and you don't even know how long they watched for, right? So so for me, it doesn't even feel worth it.
Okay.
Whereas like when I upload to IGTV, I'll get usually like 700 or 800 views on that. So
Okay.
no, I can't remember which one takes longer to start. I feel like
Facebook.
okay, so one of them has Facebook has the countdown.
3,
So,
2, 1.
yeah, so start that one first, then hit your Instagram, and then go.
Okay. I just wonder if there's like a more better way of doing it, because like just for like the first few seconds, my face is like stuffed into the camera, and it's just
No, I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it at all.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, who else wants to jump in with questions or anything you're working on, need feedback on? Anybody?
I have nothing to contribute, but
Oh,
I'm
sorry, you go.
not, yeah, I'm working on everything. I've actually created my course online with Teachery, which is actually
Okay.
kind of user friendly. Technology is not my thing. So after 5 minutes of having a meltdown and like going through the whole process, it really works. So if anybody's interested, I can speak to the testament. It's easy. I challenged is my group is semi unresponsive, and that's probably because of the group that I understand why, the resistance and the avoidance, but I'm challenged with trying to get them more engaged in the process. And like I'm just curious, when you do your weekly check-ins, how many actually don't actually respond, or do they wait until the last minute? Oh, really? You don't get any responses from half? Interesting. Okay. Just needed to know that, because I've got 4. So like out of 4, if half don't, it's 2. So yeah. Okay.
And truth be told, I don't fill out those things when people send them to me. So like it's not necessarily like a sign of disengagement. I mean, I shouldn't tell you guys that because I asked for that from you. But I know myself, like I know I'm doing the work. So, do as I say, not as I do. But like sometimes I do actually. Here's the difference is that I did, so I had a coach who always responded to them. And hers, I always filled out. When I don't get a response, I don't fill them out. So you're probably responding to them. So just keep doing that. And I respond to all the ones I get, unless it's like nothing, none, all good. I'm like, okay, at least they filled it out, right? Which is fine. But yeah, I would say maybe some weeks, 80% of them will fill it out. Other weeks it'll be 30% or 50%. And I try to remind people to do that, but yeah, don't expect 100% response. Just like in your gym, when people do monthly check-ins or whatever, if you can get half of them to do that, you're doing pretty well. So it is kind of the same. Again, I'm not trying to detract from the importance of it, but with a small group, you can really call them out, right? So when we're talking about Facebook groups, is it the group of paid people or is it a general group?
No, it's actually my paid group and they're not on the Facebook group that I'm actually for their check-in. So
okay.
I'm not calling them out. We have our weekly calls. So yeah.
So are you saying that they are not engaging in your private group as much?
I feel like they're not engaging, they're kind of silent. So, and I know why. I think trying to address that piece is definitely what our phone calls are about, is addressing their resistance to opening up to the process of it. But yet again, it's everyone's journey. So
yeah. So a couple of thoughts. Number one, like, have you set the expectation that they respond in the group, like, and that you expect that from them?
The expectation is if they need anything, I think. So if they need support, which, if somebody's struggling, they don't always ask for support. So
yeah. Okay. So I would
Mhm.
set a different expectation around like the things that you want them to respond to. And you can do that verbally on one of your calls. Like you can see in my program, I actually just redid it and I'm a little bit even more hardcore with my setting expectations video. So there is that in my program. You could do it on a group call, but if there are posts that you really want people to respond to, post it and then tag all of them and just say, would love your thoughts or response on this. Also, just know that they don't all see notifications that are things are being posted in groups. So
Right.
there's a chance that they don't even know it exists.
Right.
And I think I was just saying this a little while ago. I was definitely talking about it on the previous call, but that groups are not getting the traction that they were like 6 months ago. Yeah. So you may just want to start tagging people.
Okay.
Maybe as simple as that.
Well, I just, the 4 people that are paying, I could care less about the other people. I'm getting more engagement in my group from the people that are not paying, to be completely honest,
Yeah.
on Facebook. So it's not really that my concern. My concern is that they're getting the value out of the group environment. And as difficult it is for me to allow them to work through the process, I think that's just basically what I need to happen.
Yeah. And you also have to remember that they're like busy people with lives, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I totally get that. I think one thing is just what's the best way to, that you've gotten the best responses or the most engagement from the group that's paying you. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to know, like you yourself, you know, you have group calls and there's certain people that show up and some certain people that do not. And so what about that particular person, and what circumstances have you noticed that have helped more show up and want to be engaged?
I honestly think that so much of it is the expectation that I set for people. Like I get on, so the mastermind that I'm in is $30,000 a year. So it's not cheap.
Right.
We have 17 people in the group. Often I am one of 2 people on the group calls.
Wow.
And the only support for that program is group calls every other week. So people like aren't taking advantage of it at all. So I think there's a few things to that. I think people are busy and, you know, they have lives for sure. The people who don't get on my group calls have like a legit reason, and they let me know. And I do enroll people in the program who cannot attend my group calls because they have a full-time job or time zones, like, you know, that kind of thing, which is fine. And they are so committed to watching the recordings and I know they're watching them. And so I think part of it just comes from the expectation that I set in the beginning. Also the value of the calls. If like, I'm trying to think, I've been in groups and things like that. Actually, I've been supportive of groups as well. Like with the coaching company I used to work for, there was this program that I kind of managed for a while, and it would just be like, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. Like there wasn't a lot of value to the calls. And so people would stop coming. And so, you know, make sure your calls are valuable, but also, and I'm sure they are, but make sure they have that you have set that expectation for them. And you can do a little bit with accountability as well, especially as your group is smaller, but as it gets bigger, you know, you do have to remember that they're adults and that they're going to do what they want.
Act like toddlers.
Yeah. And you know, you're like, we all want to take so much. I've gotten really clear on this, like in the last couple of months, we want to take so much responsibility for our clients, showing up for our clients, getting results to the point where it'll keep you awake at night, like it does me, or to the point where you'll invite so much onto your plate that you do what I did, which was start getting like 60 emails in my inbox every day. So I'm having to shift that a little bit, you know, because I literally can't keep up with that. So what you do right now is fine, but it'll help you set those expectations better in the future. One thing, and we were talking about this on the last call, is that it's this like irony of codependency that we can develop. I'm probably going well beyond like what you're experiencing right now, but if it does come up, so what will start to happen is you know, you're going to, not you necessarily, but anyone can put themselves, like I did, in a position where they are so accessible and so available to people. And so the clients start to need them, right? And so the client can't make a decision without you, or they can't take a step forward without consulting you or something like that. And so they need you, right? And then you start to get really overwhelmed and you're like, okay, whoa, like I clearly don't have any boundaries. I've got to correct this. But then you'll correct it. And then because it's now become codependency, speaking from experience, when they stop reaching out to you all the time because you've empowered them to be more decisive and to take care of things on their own, you start to feel like something's wrong and they're mad at you or like they're not getting the value because they're like, they used to contact me all the time. I know I told them, you know, to build trust in themselves and to be more confident in their decision making and to do it this way, but you know, are they okay?
Right.
You know, so it's gonna all be, especially as you're coaching in this realm, which is different than fitness, like it's all gonna be a process of you finding your groove with things and kind of finding your own boundaries, your own acceptance of what your clients are like doing, just because it's really out of your control.
Right. And I don't disagree with that. I think there's some sense of codependency on my part. I've broken that habit over the years, but when you start something new, sometimes you kind of veer back into the old behaviors that you're used to. And, you know, I stepped away from the gym and now it's like, oh, I've got this new thing. I wanted to succeed. I wanted all, you know, like, why aren't they responding? All these things. So that goes through my head. So I just kind of need to step back and take a deep breath. And as you said, they're engaged as much as they can be and as much as they want to be. It's their choice. But it's my decision to set the expectation, which I have. Okay. I clearly state it's a part of the responsiveness to the group that they need to understand that if they're not responsive to the group, if they're not responsive, then they're not being engaged in their own development, because we can't all be on an island as we all choose to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I have no doubt, just knowing you, that you're doing everything you can to hold them accountable and to show up for them. You have to match their efforts, not surpass their efforts.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, you're not just talking about like, you know, I drank 64 ounces of water today, go me. You know, it's like, it's not that conversation, right? It's much more in depth. And if you have more introverted and private people, that's maybe not something that they want to just like throw on the table.
No, I'm actually seeing a trend. They're not necessarily introverted or extroverted. It's a matter of they're engaged in the wrong type of energy. It's a very draining energy. And it's interesting to see the women that were drawn to it. So,
Awesome. Well, keep us posted. I mean, as the group grows, you'll be able to also get more data about like what's working, what's not, and how to tweak your accountability system and all of that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. You're welcome. And I see your note, Mary. No worries. I am just glad you are here. It was very hard to hear you. But I am so glad that you're here. Okay, cool. Who else wants to jump in?
I'll go.
Go for it. Welcome to the group. This is David's first. Well, actually, so David just came back around. Natalie just joined the mastermind. Oh, she left. Okay. So welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you. It's good to be here again, or
with different people. You know, Joe and Nat, and I think that's
it. Okay. So let's see. First off, I didn't know you did your 200-hour. I did my 200-hour. That's kind of cool.
I did it. Yoga Works in Manhattan.
Huh. Don't know it, but anyway, I know Yoga Works, but anyway, it's a little far from. Okay, let's get down to business. Yes.
Yes.
So right now, I guess probably the biggest struggle right now is, I know we kind of talked about this via email, but what I should be focusing on next, right? And I usually, so this time of year, I usually run a little challenge, like you probably know, the LBD, or the little black dress. Always works pretty well for me about this time of year. I wasn't planning on doing it this year, and I've had a couple of people have asked me about it. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of him-hawing. I don't know if it's mostly because I don't know if I want to throw that in on top of everything else, or just focus on what we've been working on so far.
So it's been working for you in the past?
Yeah. Yep.
And what's your resistance to doing it again?
Originally, I think it was just, there might have been a little bit of, I don't know if that's going to work this year. So there might have been a little fear around that kind of stuff. But I think mostly it was because I don't want to take my focus off of what I should be doing here when the past couple of weeks I've been not focusing on that already, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that you have to kind of do both. If it's been working for you and people are asking about it, I always did. I had my own, so I lined up. I started doing this because literally I started doing this because I created this little black dress blueprint because the first Saturday in December every year, I told this to Michelle and she cringed. We had a women's magazine and they hosted a partini. She's probably laughing right now. But it was a little black dress partini. I don't know why it was called that, but so like they would have like a little catwalk and there'd be like a contest and everything. And so it was just a really fun way for us to like wrap up our party and to like go out and celebrate, and everyone wears their dresses. And I gave my winner every year, they got to pick out a little black dress and I would buy it for them. So, you know, so it was fun. That, you know, the truth is like, am I personally over that kind of stuff in that concept? Yes. But if your people still love it, I would do it.
Okay.
Maybe not the answer you want, but you do have to create the time and space in your schedule to layer those things, right? So when you're doing a special promotion, you still have to be able to layer your evergreen marketing activity on top of that. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not crossover, right? Like if you're going to do a promotion for a little black dress, your emails are going to be about that. Some of your Facebook lives and your videos and things like that are going to be about that. So you're still showing up and doing your content. You're just doing it in a more promotional way, which is actually fine for you because you've been maybe not as consistent as you want to be, but you've been doing value content for quite a while.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
I can dig that. That's sweet. Hey, you will make some people very happy. I will tell you that now.
You're welcome.
We always have a party every year around Christmas anyway, so it just fits, you know, anyway. So it works out.
So mine was this weird time frame because of how it lined up with a different program ending and the partini. So mine was 5 weeks. I don't know. What do you do yours for? What's that? 6 weeks. Okay.
Which I know it's late in the season to be starting it now, which is part of the other reason. If
you started it November 1st, you could still end it 2 weeks before Christmas, and you have plenty of time to promote between now and then.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Precisely what I was thinking.
You can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's the biggest thing I had. Yeah.
I would do it. I mean, I don't know, like if you need just more ideas or like new recipes or something, like I can always send you my little black dress manual. I still have it.
Right.
It's in pre-designed format, but you know, I don't know if you want to change up your program at all, but I can always share the one that I used.
I appreciate that. I don't know. Everybody loves it, though.
Yeah.
Kind of like everybody loves it. Why change it, right?
Yeah. If it's, I always kind of like, I would run the same programs a couple times and then I would want to like switch out recipes and things like that. I don't know how yours is set up. So, so yeah, that's totally fine. I would do it.
Good deal. Okay.
But be like, be a little snarky with your clients. Be like, look, I didn't want to do this. You kept asking me, and here's what I need from you. I need you to bring 5 of your closest friends to do this with you.
Got it. I can do that.
Have that relationship with your people. You can definitely do that.
Yeah, they know I'm crazy already, so it fits.
Look, I'm going to do this for you, but every single one of you who asks has to agree to bring 2 more people or something. Like,
not going to do it. That's right.
Yeah,
yep.
You can do it.
That's cool. Okay.
Sweet. All right, let's start promoting.
Right.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Anybody else? Michelle, maybe you'll host a Christmas partini since you like it so much. Actually,
Can I jump in again?
What's that?
Can I jump in again?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just want to see. So I think the only ones we haven't heard from today are Joe and Michelle. So you guys just pop in the chat if you have things you want to discuss. Yes, go for it, Heather.
So I figured I would text my friend about the meeting, the charity meeting. I said, so I can be better prepared for the meeting. What is the budget you guys planned for this training program? She said, as far as I know, that's part of the meeting to figure out costs so we have concrete price points when we talk to potential sponsors and if it's actually doable at this point cost-wise. We don't have any committed sponsors yet except my company, so we're limited until we get some. And I said, so the nonprofit doesn't have an income? She's like, only from fundraising, to my knowledge. Kelly will have more info on that. So
figure out your minimum, you know, and maybe look, maybe someone else has more information. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would think, I can't imagine, like, even at looking at $1,000 for that type of organization, that they can't make that happen, you know? I don't know. Nonprofits are weird. Some of them just get dumped a ton of money. And then, like, the one that I've been working with, she's like excited when she raises $100. So, yeah. Yeah, keep us posted on that. It's hard to like not have any parameters. So you have to kind of create your own. Awesome. Okay, Michelle or Joe, do you guys have anything, or someone else can jump back in?
I'll go if Michelle doesn't have anything.
Yeah, go for it. Michelle may be driving.
I know she wrote in the chat something.
It is after school for children time, I believe. So it's just a guess. Go for it, Joe.
I know I had something specific, but I can't find it in the sea of papers here that, you know, I'd messaged with you. But I got my 5-day reset reboot done just today.
Good.
So I want to start to market that for November 1st, the day after Halloween, obviously. I know it's a Friday and it's a weird day, but there's a reason why I want to get it, you know, right after Halloween and before Thanksgiving and everything. So while we were talking about Facebook, I noticed a couple days ago, I don't know if they created something new called Creator Studio.
I haven't seen it.
So like I went on my page and then something popped up on the top, and basically it's almost like Hootsuite, but it's through Facebook. So now you can pre-plan your posts for both your Facebook page and your Instagram page.
Okay.
So I was kind of trying to fool around with it just a little bit. So like every day I planned like a recipe that I got from some Wholesome Yum. I don't know if you ever heard of her, but I'm gonna try to play it out a little bit with video that way. I haven't done a video in over a week, so I'm gonna do 5 muscle building mistakes. I have that ready to go. I actually emailed that already to my email list this week.
So you're gonna do it as a pre-recorded video versus a live?
No, I'm gonna do a live video.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a live video. I gotta build my audience back up. I don't have anybody hardly in my group, so it's not a good comparison, but I get like 0 activity.
Yeah.
I would expect a smaller number would actually be more engaging because they want to be there, and I'm asking them every week. You know, I'm trying to do some of the similar things. Hey, I'm getting some of the same questions from everybody, so I'm going to address it on Friday and try to promote like going live that way.
Yeah, tag them in your posts, because honestly, my feeling is a lot of people aren't seeing group activity right now.
They're not, and I got things in the works here of what I want to do. I met with, I know I'm probably doing things backwards, but
you're doing great.
I met with a couple trainers this week, actually. You know, I want to try to do some more local training. I want to get this online business going, but I got to get some income. So I train at Anytime Fitness. They always told me I could train people. I don't want to train one-on-one anymore. So I want to do small group training. I also don't want to work 5 days a week. Not that I'm lazy. I just don't want to do the grind after 5 years of waking up 4:30 and teaching.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to talk to some other trainers, and you know, I could tell like it's over their heads right now because they're used to just training, you know, one-on-one. So like I wanted to hear more with Heather and her online training program, how that was going. So I'm glad I heard some of that, because I'm contemplating doing some things like that.
Like a hybrid?
Yeah, because I've always done, like this time of the year, we always do the pumpkin workout. So I have no place to really host it. So I'm thinking, all right, maybe I'll do a live video the Saturday before Halloween. That's when we always did ours. And I could use the gym and see if I get anybody to come there. But I'm just trying to think of different ways to get more activity, to get my name out there. Now, with the 5-day reboot or reset, this is going to be open up to men and women. So at least I'll get, I think I'll be able to get more women email addresses. Do you recommend doing like a landing page just like we did for our other lead magnet? Use it as a lead magnet?
Yeah, you can, but you don't have to. You could just have them. Well, you want to get their email addresses. Yeah, I would probably do a landing page. Sorry, backtrack.
Right.
But what you can do is, because you already built the landing page and lead pages, right? So
Yeah.
you can just you can duplicate it.
And then
then just change the verbiage. Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna do. So it looks nice. It's in my branding and everything. So that's easy to do. So I can get that done right away. But I talked about doing my signature talk at the gym as well. So I'm gonna set a date after Halloween. So that's why I'm trying to coincide a lot of these things together. I came up with a I'm basically charging the same thing that I'm charging for my 12-week program. If you want to work with me, I'm done with the 21-day challenges and all that other stuff. You have to commit for 12 weeks because I know I can get you results in 12 weeks. So,
that'd be some good content for you. If you're going to take that position, I would do content around, like a video or a post, like why a 21-day challenge is the worst thing you can do if you want to lose weight or something like that.
All right.
Some really strong positioning, especially because I know you pay attention to your competitors and see the things that they're promoting. So start to do some really strong positioning and make sure that you're giving them the really the why behind what you're saying and what to do instead.
Okay. I never posted the thing that I wanted to do about a coach versus a trainer. So I finally put a list together. I'll throw that to you before I post that. I was going to go in a totally different.
You know what? I did this one time. Sorry to interrupt, but I wrote it was very well received. I don't even remember what I said, but the caption or like the subject line was "Never hire a personal trainer."
That would be interesting to people, especially if I say that. So
and then so that's how, like, the content, like coach versus personal trainer, that's how I would present it in a way that's more curious or counterintuitive or even controversial.
Okay. I'm gonna do that. Because I have a lot of I've been working on content. I just haven't posted it out yet. So I have 10 fitness myths that I could break out into basically 2 days. But I want to go live, not just I'll email it too. But I figured this is more ways for me to practice talking in front of everybody. I do have 2 scheduled calls today. Now they're both former clients. They're both men. They both need help. The one is trying to compete with his brother for Vegas in 2 months. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I'm good on the one, and the other one I'm kind of leery with. But
what do you mean? Like, you don't know if he's a good fit, or?
I'm putting doubt in my head already before I even do the call. So I need to just stop that period.
Don't make assumptions.
Coming up with assumptions that they can't afford it or they're not willing to pay. So,
and also, I mean, this is, again, not making assumptions is very important, but I was having this conversation with the last group. So, and I know I've had it with this group and a variety of you, but just being flexible with how you present your pricing. So, you can present your pricing as a total investment, which is what I do. When I had my gym, I presented my pricing as a monthly investment. And then when I wanted to sell programs, even in the gym where the ticket item was higher than normal, I would present as a weekly investment. And I do have clients with online programs who have more success with their yeses presenting as a weekly price point. So it's just a lot. Yeah. So.
And little things like that I've been doing to break it down to be like, hey, it's only going to cost, this only costs, $83 a week. That's the $249 price point if I do something, discounted. But, most people, like we talk about, spend that going out on the weekend on beer or whatever. But, again, I don't have anything too specific. I just wanted to tell you, I got a lot of activity. So
that's
now
good. Yeah, you're doing really, really well. And then, the goal, the sign that you are doing some things right is when you are booking calls, right? So you're doing that. And even if they, like, I know you had a few that they were not yeses, but so that can be, making sure that they're the right fit, obviously.
It's just like sports, if you only take a free throw shot once every 3 days, you're not going to get better. You gotta do more and more. So it's just taken me. Everyone thinks that you just do a couple things and you're going to get a lot of activity, and it just hasn't yet. But it'll get there. I feel more comfortable over the last couple of days based on. I went to the networking meeting yesterday, and I got more people that are interested. So now I just got to realize that I need to do it the way I want to do it and on my terms, not just try to adjust it for, like, do this for me.
Yeah. So really establishing yourself as the expert and the authority on these things, and using language like, this is how I work with clients. And
And I'm glad, again, for these calls, so we could pick everyone's brain. But it's interesting talking to other trainers out there who are just used to training one-on-one over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started too, of course. But open up your eyes to see that there's more potential out there and stuff.
And it also makes you appreciate how far you've come, just in terms of like creating some sense about business. I mean, when I worked at Equinox, there were trainers who'd been there for 10 years and never had any ambition of doing anything else.
I'm glad we talked about the profit margins in the beginning, because I've had some experience with that in my former gym. And you pay your instructors a certain amount to do the group class, and the going rate is usually $20 to $25, but you do have to pay the trainers who are interacting more one-on-one a little more. But depending on the business model, depending on the gym location per se, if you have people that I forget, I think it was Glenn, I was saying that how the 3 trainers were trying to come up to him and say, hey, you got to pay us more or whatever. If they want to try to go out there on their own at a gym, they're lucky if they're going to make $25 an hour at a big box gym to train clients and stuff. It doesn't come easy like that, especially if they're not bringing anything to the table.
Yeah.
So
you are right. So, I mean, just for everyone who's here, if you look at the fitness industry as a whole, you guys are you have so much more awareness. You understand how to run and grow a business, whether you're completely involved in the training or not at all. It's just an entirely different mindset and skill set for people who are willing to participate in things like this, and start to really create, financial leverage and some time freedom. So proud of all of you for this. And I'm so excited. Like, I've known Ryan for years, and the fact that we're talking about getting you a trainer, that to me is so exciting. So very excited for you. Awesome. Anything else from you, Joe, or anybody else?
Nope, that's everything. Thanks.
Yeah. Keep us posted on those calls.
Okay. And
then just, trying to let go of the assumptions and just carrying forth the attitude of service, and whatever happens. Okay. Well, if you don't have anything else, we can get back to work. I was just thinking about going and doing a Facebook Live video outside, and then the trees literally look like they're going to blow into the house next door. So I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen.
I actually have one more question.
Sure.
I know I had a lot today. Usually I'm quiet, but.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the trees. I didn't see your post.
That's okay. And it's ironic because I was actually thinking of this before you even talked about some weekly stuff. So it came up in another group I was in about charging clients weekly versus monthly, and where you can, some places bill them every week, they bill them every other week, or they bill them like every 4 weeks. But the whole concept is talking about your pricing weekly versus monthly. And I want to get your opinion on that.
It's very common in other countries as well. Like, when you talk to people in Australia about gym memberships, they all talk about weekly. It's just what they do. So it is common in other places.
And I heard you get another 4 weeks or so out of billing in the year because, some months have.
Yeah.
So what would you think about that?
So Jen says 28-day cycles get you paid more often.
But telling people about 28 days versus just talking weekly seems easier.
Right. Well, you wouldn't necessarily, you would say like every 4 weeks or something. That's why like paying your mortgage every other week versus every month actually pays your house down like 10 years sooner or something like that. It's crazy. I've been meaning to for a year call my mortgage company and see if It's just the things you put on the back burner. See if they'll switch my payment schedule. But so the thought process is it's just more digestible for some people. Like for me, that's why I think of it that way. Especially when people are selling like the high ticket online programs that I teach people to sell. So some people, if they say $1,200 for this program, people go, whoa. Sometimes when they say it's $97 a week for 12 weeks, it's received totally differently. Part of it is experimentation. Part of it is knowing your market. And then some of it is like managing cash flow. So I have people in my program who are like, can I pay you every other week? Now, anytime you break payments down smaller, it's obviously more risk to you, just in terms of like you getting paid and having to manage and follow up on like declined payments. But it's also, in some cases easier to get more yeses. So there's a give and a take to that. So for people who, like for me, I'm like, why would anyone want to pay weekly or every other week? I'm like, I just put everything on a credit card and I pay it off every month. But other people run only on a cash basis. So they're using things like debit cards to pay their bills, because they don't want to, it's cash in, cash out. So I guess that's like potentially a few of the reasons. It's the mindset and maybe like cash flow management. But and then
when you bill them, I heard when you bill them like on a 4-week cycle, it just works better, or like every other week. But
yeah, I just set up all billing monthly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, unless people have special requests, which is fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You just kind of have to play with it and see what people are more responsive to. I never had issues really like in my gym, like just always presenting as the monthly, and that was usually fine. The one time I did present weekly billing was just having, I ran this like 6-week program that was a significantly higher price point. It was like over $200 a month basically is what it broke down to. And my average cost was like $130. And we had no issue. I sold probably 50 of those programs, at that like $50 a week price point. So it worked. It worked for that circumstance. So just some thoughts, fun thoughts for things to play with and see what you get more yeses with. We all have different markets. Like, and I would never present business coaching. Like I present business coaching as the overall investment. Of course, I do have payment plans, but that's my presentation of it. So
would it be something you start for new members going forward, or how would you, or everyone in transition? Because I've heard gyms that they transition them over to like the different billing.
I wouldn't anyone you have, I wouldn't change their billing. Someone can be on a pay in full, someone can be on a monthly cycle, someone can be on a biweekly, someone can be on weekly. I wouldn't change the overall structure. Yeah. It's better to accept less payments. I mean, if at all possible. Like I love having recurring revenue in my business. Almost everyone who works with me is on a payment plan. I love that. I would rather have that than get paid in full by everyone, just for cash flow purposes. But I would not want everyone on a weekly billing cycle because that would be a lot to manage. So
I was thinking of doing the charge every 4 weeks, so you get those few extra weeks out of the year.
Yeah. So then you are going to have to, like, you have to be obviously honest in how you present your packages. So it's this price every, in that case, maybe
I would say it's this price a week and you get charged every 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, you could do that. But don't change the people that you already have in there.
Just keep them.
Confuse them. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Good questions. Good conversation today, you guys. If anyone else has anything.
I have a comment.
Yeah. Go for it, Glenn.
You just, and I apologize, I can't see the screen anymore because I'm walking, but the gentleman who was just on, you and him were talking about Joe, when you made the comment of all of us that are in your program are far more aware of not only our industry, but of the business of our industry. And that was part of the reason why I made the decision to come to your retreat next week, is because I'm dealing with people that are not even interested in learning more about our industry. They're more interested in the science of the training and how to shape people's bodies better. And I had a trainer of mine last week actually come up and say to me, I'm tired of our weekly staff meetings because all you talk about is the marketing and the sales and how to increase retention and how to develop rapport. She's like, I tune out. I'm only interested in the science of how to make people faster and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And it really blew me away because when I was her age 20 years ago, I was interested in, like, I was always driven by how do I make more money? Like, I'm tired of making 20 bucks an hour or 30 bucks an hour, and then it jumped to 40. Like, I was always interested in how do I cram more into my day to make more money? And a lot of these newer kids aren't interested in any of that. They're just worried about, I want to show up for work, clock in, clock out. But while I'm here with my client, I want to give them everything, only if it's sound science.
Mm-hmm.
So I just really like that because I'm really looking forward to some in-depth, higher level thinking and discussions versus, hey, Glenn, I've only got 6 hours today. How come you can't find me 7?
Yeah.
Just tired of those sorts of conversations. And so I'm really, really looking forward to next week.
Me too. Did you get your plane ticket?
I did not because, I am going to get it. Don't worry. But
yeah, okay.
I'm just waiting for.
I've already made your reservations for Saturday.
Okay. So. I'm 100% coming. I'm just waiting for, like, I've got 6 different sites up. And as soon as the price drops on one of them, I'm going to jump in.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Michelle, well, I probably can't say it. Michelle left you a comment. And Michelle, I also want you here. So you send me a little update. This is for our mastermind retreat next weekend. So Michelle's saying, is she more interested in having clients and a steady income? If you don't build rapport, you can't keep clients. Yeah. So maybe like you can reposition it like as their path to earn more money. They have to understand the value in it for them. But some people are just like, I had a guy reach out to me last year who I trained with at Equinox, and he'd been there already maybe like, oh my gosh, like I want to say he'd been there probably 6 years already. And I left Equinox in 2011. He was still working there last year. So he'd been there, what is that, like 14 years doing the same thing. And he was finally starting to ask about like, okay, what it would look like to start his own business. And, it's frustrating for us, like for you, Glenn, as a business owner, managing trainers. And for those of us, I don't know what it was. I never expected it. I was so in love with kettlebell training, when I started my boot camp. But within a few months of opening, I just fell way more deeply in love with business and really feeling like business was a game that I was going to win. And it's a different mindset. Some people prefer the certainty of the clock in, clock out, regular steady paycheck. I mean, that's why I have people who booking calls with me all the time, people reaching out to me all the time who have steady jobs and they want more freedom and they want more control of how much they earn and that kind of thing, but they're too scared. They prefer the certainty and to focus on what they like doing versus, growth. And that's okay. It's not for us to judge. I find it very frustrating because I'm like, don't you people know what's possible for you? But yeah, I hear you, Glenn. I can imagine it's frustrating. Maybe if you can tie it, if you can present it in a way that is more aligned with the things that would excite them potentially. But now I know you're just kind of doing what you got to do until you can end that whole scenario. So anyway.
I mean, I respect other people's choices in life, and maybe some people are at different stages as well. Like my dad was in the Army for 38 years and he was okay with getting a salary and incremental wages whenever he got promoted. He wasn't interested in owning his own business, or he wasn't driven by money. He was driven around like the team camaraderie of troops going to battle. Like that's what he got up for. So some people, maybe that's okay. That's just not me. And I've had 2 people that I've hired over the last, I don't know how many years. Out of the 22 or 23 trainers I've hired over the years, only 2 of them have that entrepreneurial mindset to go out and want to create a better life for themselves. The rest are just ho-hum going through life. And I just don't understand people's mindset like that at all. I just can't figure it out because I'm not like that.
Yeah, I hear you 100%. I get it. So yeah, I think it's more common to find people who are just wanting to trade the dollars for hours, and they're okay with that. So you guys are all exceptional, and I'm glad that you're here with me, and really excited about all the things that you guys are working on. Michelle, tell me what you're thinking. I know you were kind of watching flights and things like that too. I know I would love to have you. Okay, cool. Well, I will look forward to connecting with you guys over the next week and speaking to you on Wednesday. So have a great week, everyone, and talk to you soon. Bye.